personally agree with these accusations and blame an unusual suspect, Mr. Fred Rogers. Mr. Rogers of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood is one of the most misguided men to ever grace the face of television. He inadvertently poisoned the minds of children for over 30 years by ending every episode with one clear message. You are special. Unfortunately, kids must have missed the part of the show about respect and responsibility and focused in on this infamous last line. Because it's true, we live in a world of childhood entitlement today. An August 2014 Reason Root poll shows that 65% of adults over 30 believe that millennials are entitled, while a whopping 58% of millennials feel that they are entitled themselves. However, a generation of entitled youth is only the tip of the iceberg. This entitled generation will one day go on to raise entitled children, who themselves will raise even more entitled children, to the point that the ideas of hard work and humility will become lost. Today's children have become the exact epitome of entitlement, and this growing trend needs to end. By looking at the problem, causes, and possible solutions of the spoiled child syndrome, we can put a stop to the entitlement epidemic. The entitlement problem has become so deeply ingrained in our culture, it's been taken to extreme lengths. In 2011, siblings Stephen and Catherine Minor took their own mother to court on accusations of parental misconduct, though the charges aren't as severe as they sound. Time magazine on September 2011 reports that the Minors sued their mother for $50,000 on trivial charges, including that she wouldn't buy her daughter an expensive homecoming dress, and she quit sending her son college care packages. Unbelievable. As we see, growing up with an attitude of spoiled specialness can fill children's craniums with crazy convictions. For instance, that you have the right to sue your own parents on petty grievances, or on a broader scale, you can do whatever you want because you're special. But let me be clear. When I say that children today suffer from a supersized sense of being special, I'm not implying that everyone isn't unique. The very definitions found in the Merriam-Webster dictionary show us the difference, by defining the word special as being in some ways superior, and unique as being without a like or equal. However, believing we're special is only part of the problem produced by our entitled society. A common theme among this generation is that we should be given exactly what we want, simply because we deserve it. Just look at collegiate athletes. The Wall Street Journal on March 2016 reports that collegiate athletes receive on average $50,000 worth of scholarships, and also have access to private tutors, specialized athletic training, and a 4-year supply of clothing. Nevertheless, for years, student athletes have demanded to be paid for the time put into their athletic careers. Even though college athletes are living the high life compared to the average student, they still feel they deserve more. Yet, the entitlement epidemic doesn't infect by itself. It has a partner: narcissism. According to psychologists Dr. Gene Twenge and Dr. Keith Campbell, in their 2010 book, The Narcissism Epidemic Living in the Age of Entitlement, narcissism, or an obsession of self-admiration, has risen 30% since the 1980s, to the point that 1 in 4 American college students were found to harbor narcissistic traits, which was significantly higher than in adults over 30. Just as the planets revolve around the sun, millennials, along with the great King Friday, feel that the world revolves around them. Now that we've seen how the problem of childhood entitlement is running rampant through our society, let's discuss the causes behind the spoiled child syndrome. Let's begin by looking at the obvious cause: overindulgence. Spoiling our precious little pumpkins by giving them everything they want without making them work for it. Although this goes well beyond giving into our kids' materialistic desires. Dr. Carl Pickard explains in his March 2012 article for Psychology Today that revolving a parent's life around a child, not allowing children to endure frustration, and constantly bending the rules for kids are all ways to spoil children emotionally. Another cause can be traced all the way back to 1969, Dr. Nathaniel Brandon published The Psychology of Self-Esteem, a book containing ideas straight out of the neighborhood of make-believe. In it, Dr. Brandon asserted that self-esteem was the single most important human trait, with a lack of it leading to severe anxiety and crippling depression. This book set in motion a whirlwind of events known as the self-esteem movement, where schools were told to integrate confidence-building activities into the classroom, and parents were told to give nothing but praise. Really? However, according to Dr. Gene Twenge's book, Generation Me, published in 2014, this nationwide movement was a complete failure. Dr. Twenge reveals that thousands of studies have shown no correlation between high self-esteem and academic achievement or a strong work ethic. In contrast, the self-esteem movement has been shown to make children more selfish, more despicable, and more entitled. Luckily, following a mountain of scientific evidence, this malicious movement burnt to the ground. Unfortunately, a new austerious ideal spawned from the ashes. The theory that every child needs a participation award. An August 2014 National Public Radio article tells the story of a young girl who rarely showed up for league soccer practice and had a terrible attitude. Regardless, at the end of the season, she received a giant participation trophy and would have been devastated if she had not, because she believed that she was entitled to it. Now that we've gone over the causes behind the spoiled child syndrome, it's time to see possible solutions that can help make tomorrow a snappy new day. Entitlement is a complex problem even X the owl can't easily solve. Unsurprisingly, most of the possible proven fears can be traced to specific parenting procedures. First, stop spoiling our special snowflakes both materialistically and emotionally. As Roald Dahl's Charlie in the Chocolate Factory famously chides, a girl can't spoil herself, you know. Second, set clear rules and punishments for kids. And if the rules are broken, enforce the punishments properly. Don't promote discipline and deficit. Psychologist Dr. Jeffrey Navid's 2015 book, Essentials of Psychology, shows that setting clear boundaries is the easiest way to raise responsible and respectful youth. Third, allow children to learn from the natural consequences of their actions. An April 2016 Psychology Today article by Dr. Carrie Barron shows that shielding our tiny tights from life's misfortunes strengthens feelings of entitlement. And every time something negative happens and mommy and daddy step in to make it better, it teaches a simple lesson. I can do whatever I want, and if something goes wrong, somebody else will take care of it for me. On a different note, my own parents worked hard to vaccinate me from this childhood contamination. All moms have certain sayings that are both meant to teach a lesson, well, kind of trying to make you feel bad. And my mom's favorite catchphrase growing up was, "Now, Derek, God helps those who help themselves." As much as I hate to admit it, my mom made a great point. We need to work for what we want. Lastly, a verified concrete solution does exist. Schools requiring community service for graduation, which the Washington Post on April 2015 shows isn't a new idea. High school seniors in Virginia, parts of Virginia, and Washington, D.C. are required to have between 75 to 100 hours of community service to graduate. What better way to think less about yourself than by giving back to others? As we see, by changing our view on parenting, and with a little help from schools, the next generation can be saved from the entitlement epidemic. I understand that some of these ideas may sound unkind. That's not my intent. But we can't stand aside while the cloak of childhood entitlement plagues our culture. Today, we've seen how to become more humble and hardworking by looking at the problem, causes, and possible solutions of the spoiled child syndrome that we face today. As we've taken a trip on the trolley through the neighborhood of entitlement, we've seen how something doesn't change, it will only get worse. But if we as a society fully embrace the age-old fact truly be